Wealth is not a number, it is a frequency. Welcome back to the extraction. To understand the spy you saw in Makati, you have to understand the prisoner in the basement. Before the dual code, there was the duty. This isn't a step forward, it's a look back at the roots. This is the prequel to the power. In the world of tarot, the fourth chapter belongs to the sign of Cancer and the card of the Chariot. But forget what you know about chariots of war or golden horses. In the basement, the chariot isn't a vehicle of speed. It is a vehicle of survival. This is the provider's shell. It is the alchemy of a hard exterior protecting a soft heart. It is the story of how I learned to navigate the floodwaters of emotion and duty without letting the engine stall. This chapter is for anyone who is currently carrying the weight of a family, a dream, or a red notice on their back. Before you can conquer the city, you must first master the shell. It was early summer in Manila, the height of the Lenten season. The air was thick, tasting of salt and old laundry. In that 20 square meter room, the silence was broken only by the metallic stutter of a fan that never moved enough air. We were 5 people in a space meant for 2. Every breath was shared, every expectation was heavy. Beyond our walls, the basement was never truly silent. I want you to hear the sound of the survival scramble, the clatter of plastic pails at the communal faucet, the shouting of neighbors over a game of mahjong, the smell of cheap tobacco drifting through the vents. It was a sensory assault that told me every second exactly where I was. I felt a desperate, quiet rage, not at my neighbors, but at the cycle. I realized that if I didn't find a way to silence that noise in my head, I would become part of it. I began to practice internal silence, building the walls of my shell brick by mental brick, while the chaos roared outside. From the neighbors' windows, the pabasa drifted in, that mournful, traditional drone of the passion. It mixed with the smell of melting wax from my mother's candles. I sat at a sticky wooden table with a red Meralco bill in my hand. In the Philippines, when the wallet is empty, the rosary is full. I would look up through the small, high window of that basement, and all I could see was a sliver of the bright, clear Manila sky. It was a cruel blue, perfect, vast, and completely cloudless. It felt like a mockery of my situation. The world was wide open, yet I was breathing the recycled air of a room that felt like a tomb. I would stare at that blue until my eyes ached, promising myself that one day I wouldn't just be looking at the sky from the bottom of a hole. I would be the one looking down from the top floor. I realized then that to get to that sky I had to become like a bank vault, cold, impenetrable, and built to hold something precious. In Wealth Alchemy, the Chariot is the master of direction, but for the Cancerian provider, it is a shell. I realized that to protect the nest, I had to become a stranger within it. I became the emotional CFO. I learned to swallow the sewer and fungus of the world so that when I walked through my door, I smelled like hope. I was the wall that stood between the storm and the people I loved. My mother would place a glass of water next to me, a small mercy. But her prayers were bricks of guilt. She was praying for my success, because my success was their survival. I realized then, my sensitivity was a liability. I had to grow a skin of iron. Every morning, I would put on my bank uniform. It was the only high-quality thing I owned, provided for free by the institution. I would starch the collar until it was sharp enough to cut, polishing my shoes until they reflected a life I hadn't earned yet. Polishing those shoes was my meditation. As I rubbed the black wax into the leather, I was polishing my resolve. I would look at my reflection in the toe of the shoe and tell myself, this person does not live in a basement. When I buttoned that bank vest, I felt the fabric tighten around my chest like a suit of armor. I wasn't just a clerk, I was a Trojan horse. I was entering the vault of the elite to learn their secrets, to steal their frequency, and to bring it back to this room. That uniform was the first time I felt the power of the Chariot, the ability to move through a world that wasn't mine without letting it see my wounds. In that uniform, I was the spy. I looked like the system, but my heart was still in the basement. But on those humid Lenten afternoons, we would find a small mercy, a shared bowl of halo. The sound of the ice being crushed, the sweetness of the Saba banana and the Leche Flan, the cold evaporated milk hitting my tongue. It felt like heaven. For 10 minutes the Meralco bill didn't matter. The red notice didn't matter. We weren't asking the electric company for another extension. We were just children of the sun, tasting something sweet. That taste was my fuel. It reminded me that even in the heat of the passion, there is a reward for those who endure. I wasn't just eating ice, I was tasting the frequency of a better life. I want you to sit with that for a moment. Imagine the pressure of being the only hope for people you love. You aren't just working for a paycheck, you are working against a deadline. You are working against the red notice on the bill. You are working against the exhaustion in your father's eyes. This is the weight of the Cancerian moon. It's the tide that wants to pull you under. If you feel that weight right now, good. That means you are ready to build the shell. You aren't being crushed, you are being compressed into a diamond. To move like the Chariot, you must perform the shell audit, the oxygen mask. You cannot save a drowning family if you are gasping for air. Prioritizing your growth is the ultimate act of selflessness. The sensory boundary. Find 15 minutes of silence today. A church, a library, anywhere away from the roar. The shell ritual. Hold a stone or coin until it leaves a mark. Affirm, I hold the weight so they don't have to, but I belong only to myself. Remind yourself who you are when no one is asking you for anything. The redemption is coming. The Sunday morning sun is rising. Even if you are still in the dark of Friday night, keep the faith, keep the shell, keep moving. I am the master of my message. I'll see you in chapter 5.